Here we say. Welcome to another Tuesday night shiur. This shiur should be Leilu Nishmat. It's her 30 days.
Adina
Bat Gulchera. Very, very important. And should be Refuah Shlema for my father-in-law's mother. Shoshana Bat Yael Tov. She's in the hospital. She's not doing well. Let's go. Let's get into the Li'inyanenu, right? Li'inyanenu. Did you figure it out? Yeah? What day?
I still don't know if it's the right year.
What day? Just say the day.
17, Karth.
18. No?
No. Okay. Le'inyanenu. We are in Parashat. Which parsha are we up to? Hayei Sarah. Hayei Sarah. The life of Sarah. Okay, we're gonna touch on a couple topics. I don't want to talk too much about things that we've been talking about in the past because of different reasons, different eye openings, different understandings, different things that people think that are very chitzoni. It means chitzoni?
Outside.
No, chitzoni means very dark, very fanatic. I'm really not. I'm not a fanatic person, but I do believe when you make certain choices that will be life-changing, you have to be very selfish and fanatic about it, especially to who you marry. I find it very, very important. You must be selfish because at the end of the day, you're living with that person for the rest of your life. No one else is living with her or with him. It depends how you look at it. We see something very interesting. This week's parasha is very interesting. It's all conversation recorded. The first two aliyot, which I don't want to really talk about, was the conversation between Avraham Avinu and Achiti regarding buying Marta Machpelah, how he did it, when he did it, so on and so forth, which is a lot of secrets in it. Everything has a lot of secrets in it. I want to talk about more the third aliyah and go on from there. We know Avraham Avinu had a slave which was in charge of his household. You know, that same word that the Pasuk uses is used with who? Which other person was a slave and said that he was also in charge of the house? Baal Koreh?
Ham was a slave, but I don't know if he was in charge of the house. Oh, Yosef. There we go.
You should know this on the tip of your tongue. You have to know this. The same words is used for Yosef. That he was the Moshel, he was the controller of the house of who?
Oh. No. What's his name?
Potiphar. And over here, what does it say? We just started. Over here, what does it say? That the Eved, the servant, which we know is who? Eliezer, was in charge of the house of who? Avraham Avinu, Rabotai. You're not taking MCATs over here. You know, this is much more simpler. You don't have to now think twice before you answer. I like when the audience engages. When they engage, they get more involved. You know what I mean? Let's backtrack a little bit the story. We know that Eliezer was a Knavi. Eliezer had a daughter. Eliezer always wanted that his daughter should marry who? Yitzhak Avinu. He really wanted that. Very, very much. Why? Everyone wants a good daughter. Everyone wants a good son-in-law. Yitzhak Avinu, the second in command, Abraham was called what? Nisi Elokim, the Prince of God. Who wouldn't want that your child should marry into such a family? It's such a privilege. It's one of the, if not the greatest thing that a person can ask for. Eliezer had a daughter, and he really wanted that Yitzhak Avinu should marry her. So he's trying to find excuses. Avraham Avinu says, listen, put your hand in between my thighs. We all know it's the Yisod. Rashi, why? Why specifically that? Why didn't he use anything else? You don't know? The answer is because Avraham Avinu, the first mitzvah that he was commanded by Hashem was Brit Milah. So his Brit Milah became a Chefetz Kadosh. It became a holy object. And automatically, since it became into Devar Kiddusha, it's something that you can swear on. As we see some grandmas go to the mezuzah, they swear on the mezuzah, or we see people swear on the food that they eat. I swear on, there are people here, I hear many times, on the bread that I ate, right? Or people say on the Torah, this and that. Why? Something that is B'Kedusha, it has a certain power. Of course, we should never swear. But you hear these Amei Aratzot that talk like that, but they understand where they're getting it from. He goes to Eliezer and says to Eliezer, listen, you have to find a wife for my son, and make sure it's not from the daughters of Canaan. Why not from the daughter? What was the problem with the daughters of Canaan?
Cursed nation.
So what? Didn't Yehuda marry a Canaanite?
Adulami, but
What's the problem with a Canaanite?
where does it say who married someone from Canaan?
I'll show you.
Was I supposed to say that?
Huh? What's the problem with a Canaanite? They're not people?
What's a Canaanite?
Canaanite is the woman from the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land of Canaan at that time. We see later in Rashi, when he goes and talks about the beauty of Rivka, why he specifically, we'll get into that, why he specifically said he wants a woman, a girl from his homeland, which was Ur Kasdim, and not from Canaan. We'll talk.
Canaan is Africa, no?
No, Canaan is not Africa. Who told you this nonsense?
No, not Canaan. It's from Ham, no?
So,
Ham is Africa, no?
I found it.
was I wrong?
No, you're right. It was in the Hayom.
For Sfaradim, learning Tanakh is in our blood.
I knew where to look.
Don't adapt this culture from other sects of Judaism that hold we don't learn Nach, Nevim Ketuvim. It's very, very bad. We never had this problem. We should every one of our kids should know Tanakh by heart. It's very important. But we'll talk about that at a different time. Right? He had a lot of kids. The reason why we associate this is a stigma, why we associate Ham to Africa, because we assume all of Ham's kids were black. It's not true. All of his kids were not black, actually. The only one that was cursed was Canaan. He was black.
His name's Canaan?
Yeah. And his descendants immigrated, some of his descendants immigrated to Eretz Yisrael, which we call today. Now that doesn't mean that black people inherit Canaan. It doesn't go that way, because there is a cult like that, the Israelites. They're cuckoo in the head. Whatever, we'll not talk about it. We're getting into politics right now. Let's get back, let's not digress, right?
Yeah.
So he goes and he tells Eliezer, listen, my son cannot leave my household. You have to go to Ur Kasdim and you have to find a wife. And what does Eliezer say? Eliezer says, how about if I'm not going to be Matzliach? What am I going to do? I'm going to go and I'm not going to be Matzliach. What's going to be? And what does Abraham Avinu say to him? If you're going to go and you're not going to be Matzliach, then the swear that I put upon you, I'm going to lift from you. You're not going to be any more obligated. As long as you do your hishtadlut. Your hishtadlut is to go and to try to find someone. And if you don't find someone, it's not your fault. That's already on me. That's how certain Avraham Avinu was. Avraham Avinu got nevuah from Hashem about this. He didn't just send him. He knew what he was getting himself into. What does the pasuk say? he took 10 camels and he took everything that belonged to Avraham Avinu and he put it all in Yitzhak Avinu's name. What did he take? Rashi says on the spot, what did he take? A shtar, a document. What did the document say? That everything I have, everything belongs to who? Yitzhak. Why? To show to the girl, Dad, don't worry, you're not going to live like a peasant, like a Bedouin. Yitzhak Avinu has money. He's a doctor. He doesn't have any student loans. He's making money. He's enjoying life. Don't worry. It is our obligation as men to support the household. This has to be clear to everyone's head and everyone's mind. This adapting this culture that the man shouldn't be a breadwinner is very, very bad. It's very, very bad. A man must be the head of the household. Must. Has to be. Let's say the person doesn't have mazal. Let's say the wife makes more than the man. It happens, no? Happens to a lot of people actually. For many, many years my wife made more than me. Many years. Many, many years. So this is my suggestion to everybody that it falls under that category. There are many kind of people in this world. There's a person that feels that you owe them. There's a person that feels that everything comes from them. There's a person that understands that it's not him, it's from Yad Hashem, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so on and so forth. What's the problem if a woman makes more than a man? Hi, Johnny?
Perfect time.
I want to hear your train of thought about it.
If a woman makes more than a man, me personally, I wouldn't want that. That's just me.
That's not what I asked you.
What did you ask me?
I said, what's the problem with that?
The guy.
The problem with that is because, again, by nature, a man is a provider. So if a woman makes more than a man, it's her nature is to receive. So if she's the one providing, deep inside, there's somewhere you could say an insecurity for the man, eventually. You might not subconsciously.
When does the insecurity happen?
But she put it out there. She starts.
When does insecurity
She
happen?
acts on it,
Yeah.
on the fact that I'm making more than you.
It's only when she acts on it.
But she can make
But
more
she will
than me.
eventually. Let's be honest. I bet she will.
So let's break it down.
Every woman will.
Let's break it down. There are some tzedkaniyot out there that as much as they make, they have the right bina yetera. What's bina? Understanding. That there are certain things we don't say. There are certain things we don't use against the man. There are some, there are very few. Even though I'm recorded, I'm going to say it to the camera's face. So those people, those haters should realize and stop being in denial. There are very few women out there that are in the level of such tzidkut, such righteousness, that they would never use this against their husband. For such a person, it's not a problem if she makes more than a man. Why? Because she doesn't even make him feel
Like she does.
that he's a nothing for it.
I mean, realistically,
We just said very few.
Now, there's the other way around. Which this is the killer. If even, not one time, even a hint, that a woman just hints it out. Just hints. That she makes more than the man, you just murdered the guy. You murdered him. It would be better for you to put a bullet in between his eyes than you say those words. People don't understand the severity of this issue. What's, for example, a hint? Okay, I tell you. Can I tell you? You went out to the mall just to chill, maybe even to buy something, and she sees a nice designer bag, or shoes, or whatever. And she goes and she says, I want to buy it. And she doesn't ask reshut. She doesn't ask permission. And she buys it. That's a very big problem. And I'll tell you why. Because not asking reshut means very simple. I'm in charge, not you. Now you're gonna think, wow, whoa, you went too far. I didn't go too far. I really didn't. She's always supposed to ask and you're always supposed to let. That's the difference. It's not that she's always supposed to ask and you're never supposed to let. You see, people don't hear the other side of how I hold of things. The man should always let.
He's clipped.
No, he's not clipped. You know when he's clipped? When she doesn't ask.
Yeah, but then also she always gives.
Wrong. Because if she's the one that's acknowledging, I understand I have a husband, and I understand there are certain priorities that need to be done in the house, and right now we could afford it. It's not that we can't afford it, I'm doing stupidity because I want to look good. That's just someone that is majnoon, she's crazy.
It's only if we could afford
Or he's crazy. You don't do stuff like that. You don't spend. Also, money management. People don't have this anymore. You don't go spend something you don't have. What does it mean you don't have? You have the money in the bank. If you don't have money for bills for at least 2 to 3 months in advance, you don't have. You don't have. This new generation feels that whatever they're on the I see food diet, whatever I desire, I have to have. No, Habibi, doesn't go this way. This is a tipshut, this is stupidity, this is tava, this is esaf. Now, as a koach gavra, as a man, if a woman asks you, can I have? You have to say yes. But there are times that you have to also explain, let's see if we can afford it right now. It's not, I learned this from Rav Akiva. Rav Akiva was a mastermind in psychology. What did Rav Akiva tell his wife? What was his wife's name? What did he tell Rachel? What did Rachel always want? She always wanted, back in the day, they used to wear a forehead jewelry, the woman. She always wanted the jewelry of the Yerushalayim on her forehead. It was considered something very beautiful. And what did Rav Akiva tell her? He never said no. What did he say?
He said one day I'll get it for you.
He said, one day I'll have, and I'm going to get it for you. Did he have right now?
Nope.
Why didn't he just say no? Because first of all, he validated that he understands her feelings. Second of all, he understood that she understood that they can't afford it. And third of all, he gave her hope. That was Rabbi Akiva. Now, if you're not smart and you read the story just because it's a story, then you never learned. You never learned how to learn. But if you learned the psychology behind Rabbi Akiva, you understood what did he just do. And he got it for her at the end. Later in his life, he became very wealthy. He got it for her. That's what we're missing. You know why people stop asking reshuts, permission? Because they always know what the answer is going to be. No. Why should I ask? I know you're going to say no. But if you do things properly, with a positive information, with a positive feedback, with an explanation, automatically what's going to happen? There's going to be a sense of give and take. So really, who's the fault that the woman has to act up in certain ways? The man's fault. It's not her fault. It's our fault for not knowing how to represent it properly. Representation is key. The way you represent the deal to the client, that's the way he's going to take it. That's why if you have a guy that's in sales and he doesn't know how to butter up the phone call, the sale will never go through. You need to have a talent in order to be in sales, right? If you don't have a talent, you're worth nothing in that industry. Absolutely nothing. Zero. You'll never close a deal a day in your life. No matter how much money and how much success you have. You personally, not you, but that person will never be able to close a deal. So let's go back. The woman that's a breadwinner, you have to know how to direct it, that comment should never come out. And we see this by many young couples, that a woman makes more than the man because he's trying to figure himself out. And he's trying to find this. And the woman's already working because they work in schools, they work in daycare, they have certain jobs, and the guy is trying to get on his feet, or he's still at school, right? So the man has to know how to represent himself in a way that this shouldn't even be in the head of his spouse. So the way you represent it, that's the way she's going to see it. That's number one. So you see, Avram Avinu already said to Eliezer, make sure they know that Yitzchak has, not that Yitzchak doesn't have. Even though Rivka didn't care, as we see later on in the parasha. But these are clues that Avraham Avinu is teaching us how to look at things. Most cases of divorce, most cases of Shalom Bayit issue has to do with one thing. Money. Kesef v'zahav. Not because you have or you don't have. Because the hashkafa of what we give the young is krum. Because we feed them that if you have money, you'll be happy. And if you don't have money, you won't be happy. That's false. You know when you will be happy? When you learn to work together. Even if you have nothing. You know when you will not be happy? When you don't work together. You can have all the money in the world, but if both of you don't work together, are always fighting each other, you'll be the most miserable couple. So what's worth the money? So instead of teaching our kids how to work together, how to learn, how to enjoy just the company, and everything around it is not important, as long as you can pay your rent and have a little food, you'll be perfectly fine. If that's what we will teach our youngs, like this, they will be able to flourish together. But if in the mind, of the youngs we say, he needs to already have a car, he already needs to have $1,000 in his bank account, he needs to have a good profession. So what does in the mind of the young person, the most important thing is monetarily value. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Because they get the monetarily value, they got the guy or they got the girl, and what do they realize? They're not for each other. Two different mindsets, two different understandings, two different goals in life, and now they have to just deal with it. So we as human beings have to know how to not manipulate, but introduce it in a certain way that it should be more positive. I'm going to tell you a small story that happened to me this week. Who knows what DMT is? You know what that is? What is it?
Something in the back of your head or something.
No.
Psychedelic.
Yes, it's a psychedelic.
It activates in the back of your head.
So I went with three of my friends, four of us. We went to the Schwitz. Banya. We decided we need to go. We work very hard. Yeah, what? I take care of myself. What's the problem?
I like that.
There is no isur that you can't take care of yourself. I indulge in things that are mutar for me to indulge. We went to Banya. We went to the one, not in Muncie, it's further a little bit. Some Hasidic guy has a huge property, and he did a very nice job there. Bekitzer, we went up there. It was actually 2-3 days ago. I think it was Sunday. I think it was. We went. Okay. We're going. We're enjoying. We're doing what we gotta do. And suddenly, there was one guy. Decided to sit next to us. And I was smoking a cigarette. And he said, "Is there anything in that cigarette?" I said, "It's regular tobacco. What's supposed to be in the cigarette? I don't lace it with anything." I was like, "Do you want one?" He's like, "No, I'm not sure." I was like, "What are you not sure about?" I was very confused. He's like, "Right now I'm on a high. I don't know if I want to cross it with anything." I was like, "Marijuana? If you smoke cigarettes, nothing is going to happen to you." He's like, "No, I'm on DMT."
In the bun.
Yeah. And I looked at this guy, and I said, "DMT, that's shroom stuff." I was like, "Did you take shrooms?" He's like, "No, I didn't take shrooms. Shrooms," he was giving me a whole pupil. Why you just take the DMT, they extract it, and they don't take the shrooms, because the shroom in it has a certain a mechanism that it fights away whatever makes you not high, but makes you super high. It makes you not high, but makes you start to hallucinate. And he only takes this and this. He's giving me a whole chidush here. And I'm listening to his chidush. One of my friends already got tired of this. He got up and left. And if you know my nature, I like to pick the brain. So I'm over there quiet. He's talking to them quiet. And I'm just looking at him, staring at him. I'm trying to understand, how is this guy right now? Like, is he here? Or is he not here? He's telling me he's seeing shapes and stuff like that. I'm like looking at him like, wow, that's a trip I was never experienced. So I cannot relate to it.
For real.
And we got into a conversation. I really wanted to talk about this specific topic sometime in the next 4 or 5 weeks. If according to Torah you can take psychedelics or not. But since we got it, I'll just tell you the story. And I had to ask him, I said, "Why do you do this? Why do you do this thing?" He comes to me, he's like, "I'm trying to find myself." And I was like, "Well, what is it that you're trying to find? Maybe we can have a conversation, I'll help you." He comes to me, he's like, "You don't understand, when you take this thing, it allows your thoughts to basically, you know how you have Windows and you press on a certain button and you see all the windows that are opened?"
Yeah.
Right? He said, when you take this, you actually get to see all of what's in your head. It's like it's right in front of you. And you can nitpick what exactly that's bothering you, traumas. And he's giving me this whole story of how they do this for medicine and therapists use it and so on and so forth. It's true, they do use it. So I go to him and I said, I know what you feel, but I feel so bad for you. And he thought I was crazy in the head. He said, "Are you laughing at me?" I said, "I'm not laughing at you, Chas v'sholom." I said, I understand. I was also once depressed. I also don't know. I also didn't know who I was. I'm very sorry. Seriously, I really feel for you. So he comes to me and is like, "So how did you figure it out?" I said, "Figure what out?" He said, "How did you figure yourself out?" I said, "I never figured myself out. I just realized that I have no control." I said, where is a person's depression coming from? Where does it come from? You know where it comes from?
Worries.
Disappointments.
From you feeling
That you're in control.
that you're in control.
Of course.
And realizing you're not in control. And
Yeah, you don't realize it. That's the thing. You don't
I told him very simple. I said, the reason why you were so lost is because you thought for 1 second that you can control the situation. I said, the second you give in and you say that I'm a nothing and God controls, all of your depression is gonna leave you. I said, you don't even. I said, I went to it so deep with him. I said, you have to thank God for all your trauma. Now he thought I for sure lost my brain. He said, why? I said, because without your trauma, you wouldn't be who you are today. I said, would you trade who you are today for anything else? He said, no. I said, so then you have to think the fact that you went through all the garbage you went through. Because without thinking it, you wouldn't be who you are. So instead of always running away and trying to figuring it out, which we'll never figure it out, because we're finite, we're not infinite, we're godly, we're not God, automatically that thought process has to be on our heads. And why am I saying this? Why am I connecting the two? Again, the conversation went for at least 45 minutes. I'm not going to get into everything we spoke about. What's the problem that the Shalom Bayit problems happen about this concept of money? You know what the problem is? Not understanding that everything that I make and everything that I have comes from Hashem. So it doesn't come through me, it comes through her. Thank Hashem, it came from you. Oh, you have ego that it came from you, that's why you can use it against me? This is what we call not an Eshet Chayil. Now you're going to say, who already thinks that way? You're right, not a lot. But it's our jobs to make sure that our daughters think that way. It's our jobs to infuse this one day into our own relationship in our marriage. Let's continue in the parasha. Eliezer goes. And he sees, who does he see? He sees Rivka. The pasuk says she was very pretty. She was a betula. And Rashi on the spot says, what does it mean that she's a betula? We have to learn this from the Rashi. We think a betula means that her erech habitulin wasn't destroyed. That means she and her wedding night can still bleed, as they say. I understood Rashi a bit different. Rashi explained that the Nashim HaKnaniyot would do things with men, but not use that spot. Just to fool their husbands that they are begeder betulot, virgins. Eliezer figured it out that she really was never with any man. Not physically, not mentally, not verbally, none of it.
She was 3.
Doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference how old she was. We're not trying to learn the story from Rivka. We're trying to learn the meaning of who Rivka was. The Torah is not a storybook. The Torah is a sefer of lessons, of godliness. When you find a girl and she loves to post provocative things, right? Bikinis, going out with friends, certain dresses, certain hairstyles, certain nails, and so on and so forth. But these are big red flags. Because if those things can be private, your life will never be private. A key for a successful marriage is that no one knows what's going on in your marriage. Because the second there are Tweety birds outside of your marriage giving advice, that's when all destruction happens. Her friend is having a miserable marriage and she's taking advice from her. I never understood that. I'm always in awe from that. I one time asked someone, I said, who gave you this advice? My friend. And how is your friend's marriage? She's divorced. I said, you're taking advice from her, right? Such a chokhmah, such a wisdom you have. You're beyond bina. Oh, you're beyond the knowledge of all knowledge. That's who you take advice from? Now, does that now mean that all divorced people are bad people to take advice from? No. But those are not the people you have to take advice from. I'm sorry. You take advice from people that have a structural life, from your teachers, from people that have a sense of experience of challenges and working through it. Not from people that don't really care about you. They just care about the situation. You have to understand this is extremely vital. Whatever happens in your life, your personal life, in your marriage especially, that stays between you and your wife. Unless there's major issues, and then you go to a Rav to figure it out. But in no way in God's name does the grandma gotta know, the parent. You know what happens? I'll tell you what happens. The second one of the parents know, automatically there's a sinah, there's a hate that gets built up in the heart of the parent.
Well, they know what?
When they know that there are certain issues in the house.
Unnecessary drama.
What happens? The parent of the one that's getting suffering starts to have a hate towards either the son-in-law or the daughter-in-law. And automatically there's a sense of coldness, a sense of not welcomingness, a sense of issue in the family. Why? Because you didn't know how to keep your mouth
Shut.
shut.
I mean, it goes for everything in life, though. Just whatever you do, you shut your mouth. I think so.
You're not wrong.
Some people have the
You're not wrong. But
revocable urge.
I don't care about what happens in your business. I care what happens before you get married. Because jobs you can always change. There's one thing you can't really change unless it reaches a certain level of certain life and death situation. And that's your spouse. Especially if you have kids. Because now you're not just affecting you and your spouse, you're affecting the whole scenario and the whole family. So why am I'm telling you this information for the ones that are not married to be careful, and for the ones that do have kids that are marriageable age, how to tell them what you're supposed to be looking for. Everything else is not important. Everything else will come. As long as the person, as long as the guy has some sense of desire to have a life, he will find a way to make money. Men are much easier to please. Much easier to please. Women, on the other hand, they're very difficult to please. But here's the big but. Once they reach your level in understanding, they're the most simplest creatures to please. The problem is most of the women never reach that same level. Why? Because the man always throws mixed signals. To live by the ideology, Kol man derachmana hativ letav hativ. Everything that God does for me, He does for the benefit, for my benefit. If you live with that ideology, with that understanding, and you always say it, and you always live it, it will start to affect everyone in the household. But if outside to people you say, Gamzul, it's going to be good, but you come home, and you start saying, how come God's doing this to me? Everyone in the house that's seeing it is learning that you're a hypocrite. That's the problem. You have to be true to yourself 100%. You with me? What was Eliezer looking for? That she was a Baal Chesed? She has kindness? What is this kindness? Because the household of Abraham was full of kindness, so we should look. So if a household that's full of, I don't know, angry management people, you should find an angry management woman. Is that the case? A house full of stingy people, the guy should find a stingy wife? Like, what's the pshat here? No. At all times of your life, you have to look for a girl that has chesed in her heart. Chesed and appreciation are together. They're partners. They're partners forever. If a person can go on the phone while he's talking to his parents, after he hangs up and says, oh my God, they're so annoying, I can't handle it, and he's next to his future spouse or a girl, or she's saying this in front of a guy, automatically what do you just do? You belittled your parents. Automatically, what does that do to her or to him? In the future, it will show that those people don't really matter. And even worse, one day she or he will do that to the spouse. Because if you can't appreciate the people that gave you and raised you unconditionally, how are you going to go appreciate someone that you just met a year or two and you want to marry her? What? Because she's giving you certain tavot? That's why? Because she's giving you a sense of a tava. That's why you'll appreciate her more? Baloney. Baloney. Tava you can buy anywhere you want. You don't even need to buy it anymore. You can just go to any club and you can get it, I promise you. I can guarantee it to you. Guarantee it. With my eyes closed, I can guarantee it to you. So when you hear this negative talking, you have two choices on the spot. Either you have to rebuke it on the spot, which is not a problem. I don't appreciate you speaking to your mother like that. I'm sorry. What are you, my father? No. I'm gonna be your husband, and that's not appropriate. I'm sorry. That's not the way we do things. Because the wife you'll have, that's the wife that's gonna raise your daughters, Habibi. And imagine one day your daughter says to you, I want you to think about this for a second. Your daughter is gonna tell you, you're just a bank in the house. I don't really care about you. How are you gonna feel? You're gonna feel not just crushed. Why? Because you love that person so much, but yet you can't have any hate towards them. Because a father's love to his child is an unconditional love.
That's also why a man loves a woman more.
You won't know what to do. It will eat you alive. And you know who she's gonna learn that from? From mommy. She's gonna learn that from mommy. Because anytime mommy doesn't get her way, she knows how to degrade daddy. And the kids see it and they hear it. So in their mind, what do they say? Daddy's a fool. You know what happens 99% of the time? They get older, mommy has no more control over the kids. So mommy runs to daddy, but daddy can't do anything about it anymore. It's finished. Why? Because she built this sense of hate and non-importantness towards him. And now, not only do you lose the chinuch, you also lose the kid. For what? For ego. Take. For ego. It was all an ego trip. Was that worth it? What, because she's beautiful? You like her hair and her nails and her body? You liked it? Was it worth it to live in a Gehenna? That's called living in hell, you should know that. That's hell. The worst thing in the world is to make the wrong to make the wrong choice on who to marry. Rather be burned in hellfire than to have that. Whatever that means, hellfire. Again, that's another topic on its own. So what is Abraham Avinu basically saying? You have to find someone that's a Balei Chesed. Why? Because someone that's a Balei Chesed knows how to love, knows how to appreciate, knows how not to be fake. You know those ladies? Yeah, come to my house. Yeah, come. Suddenly the people don't come. Baruch Hashem, they didn't come. Oh, what the living hell was that? What kind of fake person are you? I know plenty of people like that. Come. Suddenly, nah, it's okay. You just turn around. Baruch Hashem, they didn't come. Why you invited then? What kind of fake nonsense is that? Your heart always has to be patuach. You always have to learn how to give. That's called being a Baal Chesed. And that's what he was looking for. Rivka Imeinu has to be Baal Chesed. She's marrying Yitzchak. Yitzchak is Gvura. You think he cared about Chesed? He was a man of strength. A man of borders. A man of legacy. He wasn't a man of kindness, quote unquote, according to the story of the Torah that we read. But indeed, he really was. Because kindness is the only midah that's as important as any midah can be. Because when someone's truly kind, he's not a fake. He's real. He's real. You have to learn to be real. This is very important. Amen. Now, there is a concept of tshuva. It doesn't mean now every girl in the world that ever posted something, you can't go out with her. But tshuva means that all those posts get deleted. It means that she's not provocative. That means that she doesn't need to put a whole layer of makeup like she's just powdered herself for 10 years. Unless she really looks like a monkey, then maybe to look human, maybe. Doesn't mean she has to have nails like a cat or like a squirrel. This is nonsense. It's nonsense. It's idiotic. What is this nonsense? You know who used to have long nails? People that used to do avodah zarah. People that do witchcraft. What is this new thing to have long nails? It came from the French, actually. They always come with these stupid ideas. Why are we getting attracted to things that are mamash tumah? We shouldn't. You know, I don't want to get off tangent, but the nails is a source of klipa of our body. All the negativity, the dvarim, ra'im, come from where, you know? The nails. That's why a person should be makpid every week to cut his nails. Every Erev Shabbat to cut his nails. His hands and his feet should be makpid. No, don't ever bite your nails. It's very bad. Chilul Shabbat, you can come to do. You can eat it, chas v'chalila, if you eat it. You spit it all over, disgusting, like a dog. Never. If you can't, and you always bite your nails, the Rebbe gave someone advice. Wear gloves.
What?
Wear gloves. You're not gonna bite your gloves unless you're mentally ill, like Michael Tyson.
He changed a lot of it.
He bites his glove, you know that? You saw that? That's why he said that. Don't do this nonsense. Don't bite your nails. The nail is what color?
White usually, but it goes black
It's
inside.
white. The brain is what color?
Pink?
White.
That's why they always shoot pink.
The brain, which is the most precious part of our body and most ununderstood, and the nail, which is considered the nothingness of the human body, which you cut off, are both white. Who gives you the whiteness of your body?
Hashem.
Father.
The father. Your father's DNA is so strong in you that it creates the most important thing and the most unimportant thing. I don't want to go into a different topic now. Our DNA has Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov inside. If we won't know how to fish for the right fish, we will be in a living Gehenna every single day of our life. The Gemara says, you marry the wrong girl, you're in Gehenna. That's hell. That's worse than hell. Imagine every day of your life, you need to justify and you need to explain every little thing to somebody.
Worth.
What kind of nonsense is this? What am I, in a jail? It goes both ways. There needs to be a sense of understanding, natural understanding, explanation. When your life is not based on the foundation of Torah, that's what happens. You know what it's based on? Fake Torah. We think we send our kids to yeshiva for what, 12, 13, 14, 15 years approximately, not including after high school. We send them to yeshiva for 15 years. We expect them to what? We expect them to live a Torah-dicka life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest baloney I heard in my life. The biggest baloney. Yeshiva doesn't teach you Yiddishkeit.
What's the point of yeshiva?
The house to learn Torah.
Isn't that?
No, Yiddishkeit is to teach you how to live. Teaches you about God. That's why you have a house. That's why you have a father and mother. It's their job to instill godliness in you. If they don't do it, you have to find a rebbe or a madricha that will teach you this. You ever felt godliness from learning the Gemara?
Yeah.
That's very good. Most people don't ever feel that. A sense of hitlavut, excitement to serve Hashem from learning Gemara. That's very good. You ever felt that?
Rarely.
That's who
Rarely.
you learn with,
I
really.
felt it in second year yeshiva when I went to Sanhedrin. That's when I felt it.
You felt it at that? Ever? 50-50, right? You went to Chavetz Chaim, it's not such a gewaldig feeling, right? You ever felt it? Sometimes, yeah. We have to reach that every single second. What's your question? Ask your question. I'll take my ish.
It's not a question really, it's more of a statement.
No.
I feel when I learn how, like Musar and Navi, less Musar, more Halach and Navi. I feel different parts of, when I learn different parts of the Torah.
The koach hamochin, the koach of the brain that we were created. You see, there's two parts of a human. There's the neshama, and then there's the goof, the body. Hashem gives us our neshama. All of our neshamot are the same. It's basically a huge chunk of potential. Our goofs are all different. What is our goofs? Our goofs are the machshava and the mitzvot and averot that are done the day of conception. And our mazal is the day we are born.
That's what he said.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know.
We have the Mazal, we just become so holy that we choose to go.
No, you're not listening. You're not listening. You went off tangent. Focus. The baby, the child, right? The child. It's called Chalukat Derabanan. His kli, his vessel, right? That his neshama goes into is based on the father and mother's mitzvot and averot of the day. Of the day that he was conceived.
Born? What's conceived?
Conceived means when she got pregnant.
So it's the way they did it, basically.
You know, listen.
Oh, no, it's-
The whole day. That's the or of the day.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That a person has such a control of how things can happen. Why in this generation, even though there's the most Torah in any generation ever was in existence of
All time.
of our history, the most Torah is in this generation. But yet there's also the most
Tumah.
people that are falling off the derech. Because we stop doing things b'kedusha of ta'ala. We start to do everything very robotic. I have to put a tefillah. I have to learn. I have to do this. I have to do that. Everything is I have to. Ever stop for a second and say, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Can I get an explanation? Why am I davening even? What am I saying when I'm davening? What am I learning? For what am I learning? Why am I getting married? For what do I need to get married? It's much cheaper to rent out an apartment, to get a maid to clean your house, to get a private chef, or to buy takeout food. And to do averotas doesn't even cost nowadays. It's much cheaper. Why I need this marriage? Hi Johnny, why I need this? It's like a lose-lose any way you go, right? It's a lose-lose. Why I need this? Why, what do you think? Why do we need this? Why are you in sudden shock? Huh?
No, I just like what he said.
Why do we need this? Math man. Why do we need this? No comment. Anyone? Why do we need this?
Why do we need marriage?
Yeah. It's a waste of time.
I mean, just become
Give
God.
you the
We're
answer that
supposed
you
to
guys
become like
think you're
God.
giving me.
What?
I should give you the answer
Yeah.
that
It's the truth. We're supposed to give. Sure. That's why we get married. That's it.
He's right. He's right.
Give what to who?
We're supposed to become.
Because we need to emulate God. What does that mean? God created this world only for one reason.
To give.
To be a giver.
Okay, you don't have to get married to have kids.
The proper way.
You can't give until you give in. The only person you're going to ever give in to is your spouse.
Wasn't even given. So
When you have an argument, I can give in to someone
wasn't
for respect. It's giving in.
No, listen. You're jumping.
I'm saying.
You're jumping.
Sorry.
I'm going to repeat it again. The only person you'll actually give in to in your life, regardless if you're right or you're wrong, is your wife.
Was it given to submit?
Yes. And she likewise. It doesn't mean to be a lapuch, making those eyes coming out. That's not what I meant. Give in a sense, you don't even care what the fight's about. You just want it to be over. When you argue with your friend or with your parent, you want to be right. And even if you say, yeah, okay, you're right, in your heart, you know what?
I'm right.
That you're really right and they're wrong. But to a spouse, you have to reach that point that you don't care who's right and who's wrong. You're right, baby. You know what? I'm wrong. I agree I'm wrong. Let's just finish this. I'm done. I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. Why are we fighting? Because you have to learn how to be an ultra giver. To be an ultra giver, you have to be an ultra submitter. And that's why Avraham Avinu told Eliezer, Chesed. That's all you need in this world is Chesed. To do something for someone without caring about anything in return. You never have to care about what clicked.
Solid. The reason, okay.
What clicked? First of all, how many years you had this problem for?
Yeah, an epiphany.
Huh?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
You got an answer
I
today?
got an answer to that.
Yes, go ahead.
Why Ham was cursed? Because
Okay.
he cared about himself. Because he cut off Noach's erva, so he didn't have any more kids. Because he wanted to be selfish. He didn't want to be more kids to split up the world because the world's already
Correct.
divided into 3.
Correct.
So you're selfish. Now you're saying chesed is to give. Now that's why the entire bloodline was cursed not to take from Canaan as a wife.
Okay.
You answer the question I had.
Okay.
Why Eliezer? Why was?
Okay.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
The ultimate pleasure in this world is to be a giver.
When you do the
You know why we seek attention when we give? You want to know why?
Gava. Aye.
No,
Because Neshama loves him.
it's not gava.
That's
You know why do we seek attention when we give? Some people, at least, if you don't graduate from that stage,
Because of reciprocity.
you want to know why?
Yeah, of course.
Back.
What do you think?
You want to feel like you're right.
Feel good. You feel good, huh?
Of course you feel good, but why do you want that validation from someone else?
Because you don't know how to give. So you're finally doing it. I don't know.
Ego.
I said ego. He said no.
Because you know what it feels like to
The
receive.
same reason why a man doesn't like it when their wife tells them, "I make more money than you."
That's why we see validation.
Control.
So we want to be in control. That's what I said. Yeah, it's control.
When a person learns to master this idea that it's not me, he doesn't even understand how much more pleasure he's going to get out of giving. You have to reach the point that has nothing to do with me. I was just the means of a connection to something that God gave me to give. We're missing this in our Torah. We're mamish missing this. This is the key of this is the avodah of the works of the Baal Shem Tov. Of any mysticism. There is no you. You never even existed. Johnny, can I ask you a question? Honestly, but you can answer me honestly?
I was answering honestly.
You're gonna answer me honestly? If there's a feature in your face that you can change, what would it be?
In my face?
Yes, something in your face. What would you change? Maybe the color of your hair, maybe thinner eyebrows, maybe, I don't know, a different kind of shape a little bit. Would you change something? Don't answer, yes or no. Would there be something you would change?
You could always tweet.
Yes or no?
Not really, honestly, not really, no. I mean, it could be blue eyes.
Yeah, you would change something? Would you change something? You have the choice right now to change something. Would you change it? Yes or no? Don't say what it is, because I don't want to see your insecurity. Would you change something?
Sure,
Yes?
sure.
He said right away, he said sure, because he's not going to say it. That's how you know you're not in control. Because if you had some sense of control, you would make sure you would come down to this world looking like that.
Oh, I heard
You're
that.
saying,
It's not about you.
you're saying before we came down, we had the ability to choose.
You chose everything.
Yeah, so what do you mean you're saying it's not me?
Meaning what? The way you look, your life, you're gonna be rich, you're gonna be poor, you're gonna be this family, that family.
I mean, I chose rich every time. I know I did.
It's funny where you ended up.
Damn.
What's the ability?
I'll show you the video. It's funny.
Wait, what do you mean we chose for Wall Street?
You chose everything.
Said that.
You chose your family. You chose your nose, your eyes, your ears, your hair. The fact that everything about you, you chose. I
You
chose
said
rich. I chose rich every time. You know how I know you're gonna choose rich? You know how I know? You wanna know how I know? Because you ended up in the most unrich house.
Doesn't mean I'm not rich. Because I'm
You're
happy.
listening.
He just
Because-
what he's got.
What really chose it? You know what really chose it? That neshama that's pure of God chose you.
I only choose
You know why? Because he knows what's good for you. You right now would want to change it because you right now are acting more on the behemoth, the animal side of you, the ta'ava side of you, not on the godly side of you.
How does that make sense if we mean?
I mean, I want to be rich. Why would I not want to be?
Because
Who wouldn't want to be?
That's your body talking. That's not even Shalom
Shut
talking.
the hell up.
Sorry.
Don't ever talk like that. Don't talk.
Sorry.
See that car right there?
Sorry.
who wouldn't want to be rich?
Yeah.
Someone that's content with what he has in his life.
I can still be happy and still want to be rich.
You're not listening to me. Content is
Right.
not happiness.
What's content?
Satisfaction.
Content is being satisfied with
What
what you have.
Rabbi, if you make or if we
You're not listening.
So that's what I'm talking.
You think that money is going to give you something that doesn't exist already.
Oh, true.
I'm telling you, it already exists. You just need to accept.
What do you think?
There is nothing that money can ever give you and make you feel than how you feel right now. Because you, as a human being, how you are, you're a perfect person.
Thank you.
You think you need money to validate certain statuses about you that's going to pick you up somewhere. And who are you doing that for?
So,
No,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
No,
You want to know why you're not doing it for yourself?
Why not?
Because if you would be stuck in an island, you would never even think about that.
So,
You're doing it for other people's validation. You're not doing it for you. Admit it. No, admit it. Admit it. If you're doing it for you, you would have achieved
No,
it.
not fun, because if there was a
It is not
status,
fun.
if it was a status of something,
Oh,
let's say,
it's a status. You're not doing it
it's
for
according to
you.
the environment. What do
No.
Yeah.
No.
You want it
That's
to
the
be environment.
that's the trauma. That's bad.
Makashu.
It's bad. You have to do it for you. You know what? You know it's not. You're doing it for other people to give you a sense of validation.
That's a
Will
fact.
give you a sense of, oh, I'm so good. That's weakness. For society to look at you a certain way, to make you feel happy or to make you feel a certain status, that's weakness.
No, but why would you want to stand out of society? You want to be like Dafka, to be not like everybody
No,
else.
I'm perfectly
Go with the flow. Be like
No, there's no flow. You create your own flow.
exactly, but you can't step.
I'm not telling you right now to look.
No,
No, what does your in a cloud mean? And what? No, you see this?
Everybody's
I love
doing this thing.
No, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
No, that's what I love about Baal Teshuvas. They take one thing and they flip it like this, which ends up to be like this, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about. When the Torah says Yotzeh min haklal, it's talking about if you are in an environment or in a place that they're nahuk to do something a certain way, don't go out of your way to do something different.
Exactly.
No. Now, if you're living a certain life,
Everybody lives a certain lifestyle. Don't go out of your way to look broke. Same thing.
no, I'm not telling you to be broke, Hashem.
Or don't even if you have money, don't look like you're some miskin.
I never said to look like a
So,
miskin.
but you're saying it's you don't want to look like everybody else. That's according to the status.
No, I never said that. I'm not telling you right now to go look like an ani marud. Chas v'chalila. What I'm saying is, you're striving of certain statuses is not because you really want it. It's because you want the status from other people. Because the truth is, who you are, you're perfectly fine. You don't need more than what you have. You really don't. You'll be perfectly fine if you live a normal life,
Right.
b'tzniut, u'bekavod, and live like this till 120 and die peacefully.
There's no contradiction.
No. But when a person wants it, not for his own content, but he wants it because he thinks that validation from others is going to give him a sense of satisfaction, that's the problem. That's exactly what I'm telling you. Regardless how much money those people will make, they will never be happy. They can be as rich as Korach,
Because I'm
they
happy
will
right
never
now,
be
so-
happy. You want to know why? Because in their mind, the validation never stops. There's always someone else looking at me. Who can I get better than? No.
You could
You're
say
running. You're running for something that doesn't really need to be run at. You have to be happy and satisfied in the eyes of God, not in the eyes of people. To be accepted in the eyes of people just shows how weak-minded a person really is. Because if you need a basar vadam to validate you, you're like not you, but you're like a dog. Dogs want satisfaction, wants appreciation from its owner. A human wants to be one with his creator. Being one with your creator is understanding everything comes from your creator. Now, if I want to do something more than that I really don't need, There are people that have a mazal to be rich. Whatever they touch becomes gold. There are people like that.
Wait,
Mamash.
hold on. Last week you spoke about happiness and you said what it is to be happy and you said that
Last week, happiness?
I don't know if it was last week, yeah.
No, I think
You
it
spoke
was...
about what it is to be happy and you said that it relies on other people, that when you give and you
To
feel
give.
satisfaction
Correct.
and all that. As in it's talui b'anashim gam, man.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's
No,
the
you
same-
took,
you
again,
might
you're
not
taking
understand.
three different things. No, there's doing something for another person that gives you happiness.
Okay.
Doing something to get another person's approval, that's not happiness. That's like running in a trap all your life like a guinea pig. I'm not doing it because I want someone else to calm my feelings down. I'm doing it, even anonymously, I'm doing it because I don't want anything in return. I'm not doing it for your approval. I'm doing it because I want to do a chesed. That's happiness. I'm not doing it because, I have to get a big house. Why? Because I live on a certain block. And if I'm not going to up my standards like these people, who am I going to look like? I'm going to look like the shutei of town. No, that's wrong. That's a wrong way of thinking. You're not living for you then, you're living for him. All your life you're going to be living for somebody else. Go ahead.
For me, Rabbi, I'm happy with what I have. Like you can see, Rabbi, I don't need to dress fancy. I'm fine, right? I'm saying I don't feel. Listen, I'm trying to sit there. I don't feel like I need to prove anything anymore. I just like the feeling of security. So I want to make a lot of money, but not to have the nicest car. I really don't care.
Money
Like you
gives
see
you-
my car, it's nothing.
Money gives you security?
I know you're gonna say it's from a champ, but it's just physically there. Rabbi. I know that I'm
I ask you a
good.
question. Does money give you security? Can money, with all the
Oh,
money,
it's just
can I ask you a
the
question? With all the money in the world, could you have saved your grandmother's life? Yes or no?
No.
So then does money give you security?
Yeah, so
Thank you.
that's so.
Money doesn't give security. Money is an illusion. The only security you need to have is this. This gives you security. Because this world is temporarily, my friend. You're running for a fake security of this world, not knowing that in a couple of years you're going to leave this world. And what security are you going to go over there with? With the few dollars of chesed you gave by accident because you were doing it for a certain people to look at you? That's going to be your security? What are you going to go up there with? Who are you going to give din v'cheshbon to? For what? How are you going to, forget about there, how are you going to live your life here? Running after security. You're running after the fake security.
But you could do both. I could still get security from
You
that.
see how it changed automatically?
No, it's true.
Because it's a tava, it's not really security.
It is.
So what is he gonna say? He's gonna say,
Security.
you're right, you can do both now. No. You said security, right?
Yeah. But
So-
I get security from that and that. I learned still
Ah,
every day.
pick one.
What do you mean? Why not?
No,
Whoa,
pick
what?
one.
No.
Because
That makes sense.
a security, what is the word security?
Secure.
It's singular.
Okay, you could still
You
get
need
security for a
one
few
lock
years.
on the door. You don't need 1,000 locks on the door. If you need 1,000, that means all 999 are not really good locks. They're just there for the show. You need one lock. Only one. This is the only thing you need in your life. That's it. Everything else is an excuse why you're not achieving it. Get it through your head. The reason why it's hard to accept, because you know what this means? If you have to accept this, you know what this means?
You have to be
The
able to
whole
change.
way you live
Is different.
is wrong. And no one wants to change the way they live. Now, I'm not telling you to not be doctors and lawyers. Do it all. But if you're doing it, not because Hashem wants you to do it, but you're doing it for validation of, I know people that say, I'm going to be a doctor because who am I going to marry? Who's going to marry me?
That's retarded. She's retarded. I don't think
Habibi, they're still not married and they're doctors. And they have practices.
How do you know what Hashem wants you to do?
Says in Torah.
Open the book, baby. Open the book.
It's not a different topic. This is called a person that wants to tell me more. Not argue, but tell me
It's
more.
not arguing, Rabbi. No. Well, don't do that, Rabbi. Because I'm not
I'm just joking.
arguing.
You know, I love you. I love you. I love you so much. Ahuv libi, the love of my heart.
Oh.
With quotations. How do we know what Hashem wants? That's why you have a Rebbe.
Remember, his wife watches this stuff.
When you have a Rebbe, And this is the second topic that I want to get into.
Perfect.
It's very late. I actually have to
This
pick up.
is
I
6
have to
uur.
pick up my mom, but she didn't call me yet. What happened to Lavan and Eliezer this week's parasha?
Try to kill him.
But then what did Lavan tell Eliezer? Baruch,
I didn't get to that earlier.
Baruch. Look it up in the Chumash right behind you. What did Lavan tell Eliezer, Eved Abraham? Look at this. Eliezer went to Haran on a doubt from what his Rebbe told him. On a doubt. He wasn't sure. But his Rebbe told him he went at the end. And he went with the if. Lavan, what did he say to him?
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. 1 second. Who knew the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei? How did Lavan know Yud Kei Vav Kei? Paro didn't even know Yud Kei Vav Kei. How did Lavan know about Yud Kei Vav Kei? What's going on over here?
You're gonna remember to that they're nobody.
Correct! Where's this Gilui coming from? What is this? Because he followed his Rebbe. His Rebbe no, Eliezer.
Oh.
Eliezer left the status of Tumah to Kedusha when he got that blessing. When he listened to what his Rebbe said, when the Rebbe speaks, it's like Nevuah. It's Mamash Nevuah. It's Ruach HaKodesh Mipi Harav. When a person is willing to mevatel himself to what his Rebbe says, regardless if you like it or not, automatically what happens? You know you're going on the right path. But if you're going to be an Iber Chacham, a Chacham Balayla, and say, what do you know? Look at you, you get minimum wage. You know, I'm going to be one day, I'm going to give you tzedakah, right? One of those, I had a student like that. He came to me one time, he gave me a nice fat check. I said, I'm going to show you something that money can't buy. You ready to see? I ripped it up in front of his face.
What do you give your check for?
He said, tzedakah, you're my Rebbe, I want you here to, this is for you.
What's the problem?
I ripped it up. Why? Because he thought he can buy me with a couple of dollars.
He was giving
Well,
There's something money can't buy. You know what money can't buy?
love, happiness.
Loyalty to God. Money can't buy this.
Well, you wanted to buy it for a bit.
This is not the point.
Yeah.
Understand the message behind it. You know when you're doing right, when you have a Rebbe and you don't move from his zuzah, from his, he says something, you understand it. You don't understand it, you follow the derech.
I can't vote. Number 4.
That's how you know you're going in the right path. Your Rebbe makes your path for you through the guidance of Hashem.
But which Rebbe will say his shot or whatever.
Correct. That's why. What does the Pekah say? Asel lecha what?
Rav.
Not the Rabbim.
Asalecha, make yourself.
Correct. Find. You have to find
No,
one.
yourself. Right?
No! Now you're talking like a kofir bika.
Why?
Sorry. Asel lecha, Rav. It's like, you know, a guy is driving and there's the no U-turn and the cop stops him and he says, "Why do you do U-turn?" He said, "Oh, the sign says no U-turn, so I turned."
Oh, no.
That's exactly what you're saying. I turned. The sign told me to turn, so I turned.
Damn.
No, you're reading the Pekah Avot wrong. Not aseh lecha Rav. It says aseh lecha Rav. Make for yourself, Rabbi. Not make yourself the rabbi. When you think like that, tzeduki meduki. That's what it comes down to. You know what I'm talking about?
Each rabbi that you can ask the same question to 2-3 different rabbis.
Correct.
Each one will say according to his ashkafa, according
Correct.
to his this, that.
Correct.
So how do you know which one is
Correct.
one?
That's why you have to find a Rebbe that's not close-minded and is not a tuki. You have to find someone that understands people, understands people's living, deals with people, understands what people can do and what's good for you. And you ask him and say, you know me as a person. What do you suggest? Whatever you say, I'm going to do.
The Rabbi that agrees with fear.
That's the difference. Do you understand? I didn't want to end up in a chinuch. My Rabbi told me, this is your path. I wanted to go into different industries. I could have been very successful in different industries. My Rabbi told me, no. Your job is to deal with neshamot.
Whoever happens to
It
that.
doesn't make a difference. That's what we did.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Really?
Am I missing anything in my life? I'm not missing a single thing. Baruch Hashem, I have a family. Baruch Hashem, I have a house. Baruch Hashem, I have a mikveh in my house. People see that, they're like, wow, you're an Asher, you're rich. I'm not rich. You just waste your money in stupidity, and I don't. I have a car. What more can I ask for? What more can I ask for? I go on vacation. What more can I ask for in my life? What am I missing? The same cow that the multi-billionaire eats, I eat the same cow. The same exact cow. This is what his cow's made out of gold.
At times.
So the chokhmah to have, I also can have wagyu if I want. It's not a chokhmah, Rabbi Isai.
It's kosher wagon.
Yes, there is kosher. There's kosher everything. Money buys everything. Kesev ya'avir enei
Now we talk.
hachamim, right? There's whatever you want. Everything is available.
Now we're talking, I love you.
Everything's available. Everything's available. What does that mean?
Right.
You don't need to think. You need to live a certain way. You know why? Some people have to understand. The richest man in the world, and I'm going to finish with this. Really, the richest man. You know who the real richest man is? Someone that goes home to an Eshet Chayv. I honestly, better to be a ani marud. You're eating scraps from the garbage.
Sure.
You're sleeping outside, but you're doing all of that with a woman that loves you. Than living in a mansion, having servants and maids and cleaning ladies, than having a wife that nags you all the time. I said that to you. People don't understand this because they get infatuated with nonsense. But she's so pretty. What the hell am I gonna do with your pretty? What am I gonna do with it?
Okay.
Take a picture, it's gonna be like that, always pretty. It's even prettier, the mouth doesn't open like a kachuk, ow, all the time. You understand? It doesn't open, it's always bitsniut, quiet. You don't need to look for something that's not needed. Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives. You know what he said at the end of Kohelet? Sof davar hakol nishma et ha'elokim yira ve'et mitzvotai shmor na. We read that, when did we read that? Right? Birkat Hamazon, Rabotai.
What does it mean?
Shlomo Melech said, I had all the money, I had all the women, I had all the horses, I had everything. But you know what I want? After having everything in my life, you know what really is the most important thing I'm seeking? The most valuable thing? I want to seek you, God. That's all I really want.
Okay, guys, let's do it. Honestly.
All I want in my life is just you, God. We're talking about a man that had all the riches in the world.
Wisdom too.
All the wisdom, all the women, all the money, and still he said, what do I want? I want you. That's all I want. Because if you have him, you have everything. No matter what comes your way, if you have him, you can handle everything.
If I may have.
That's what we're forgetting. You have to pray every day of your life that you have a wife that falls under that kind of hashkafa. Not some ninarmalne one day says like this, tomorrow she's Rav Ovadia Yosef's wife, and the next day she's Slim Shady's wife. Right? Every day a different digression of Demonigi. You don't need that. I promise you, you're gonna cry more than everybody else if you're gonna end up with one of those. You don't need that. How does that change? How does that get decided? By your actions. And that's why Eliezer became blessed this week. Because he listened to his Rebbe. Even though he wasn't comfortable, he wanted to give his own daughter to Yitzchak. He could have went home and lied to Avraham Avinu. He could have said, Avraham, I didn't find anyone. Give your daughter now. Give your son to my daughter. He didn't say that. He said, my Rebbe said something, I'm going all the way. Regardless if I like it or not, I'm going all the way. But I like it. No one asked you what you like. Because if I asked you what you would like, you would pick a different path for yourself. The fact that you didn't, Hashem knows what's best for you. Don't fight God. Go together with God. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.